When I was 16 years old, I wanted to work in the vet field. So I lived in a small town. My small town had 2 vets offices. So I went to those 2 different vets offices and I applied for a job as a kennel tech or just a cleaner, dog walker, whatever, just something to get my foot in the door. I had a bad reputation back then. I wasn't the best student at school. I was I had great grades. I just wasn't the best well-behaved student in school. I was going through a lot in my life, so I acted out a lot and rebelled a lot. And because of that, I had a reputation. And I think it was that reputation that kept me from getting those kind of jobs at that time. Because so-and-so knew so-and-so and told so-and-so about you. And so a lot of small townness is about who you know. And I just couldn't get my foot into the door. About 8 years ago today, I started working as a vet tech at an animal hospital in Millington. And I did that for a couple years, and I really enjoyed it. I thrived in that field. It was one of the happiest times in my life. Even though I didn't make a lot of money, I was very happy and proud of my job and what I did. So thinking back on that, until now, I think at that moment, that was just God leading me into animal husbandry and, knowing how to take better care of my animals. And he was preparing me for this small farm through that job. And at the time, I had no idea. At the time, I wasn't even a gardener yet. So I had no clue that this was preparations for where I am now. And now, 8 years later, I have this small farm with all these animals, and I love it. I'm thriving. This is my best, happiest life. I do a lot of volunteering. A lot of y'all know I'm a master gardener for my county, and I've done almost 200 hours, very close to 200 hours of volunteer time last year. And for 2023, I have a goal of 200, and I want to get to 200 volunteer hours this year. So I went by my local Humane Society. I've driven by it several times, and I've always told Robert that I should go in there and volunteer to do some cleaning or some dog walking and, just volunteer my time. So one day, me and Kylie were riding back from Newbern, and we were passing that Humane Society. So I told Kylie we should just stop and ask them about volunteering. So we stopped and we visited. And while I was there, my heart broke. There were 3 different animals there, 3 different dogs there that I really felt a connection with. And my heart hurt for them. So in that, I left and decided maybe I should apply for a job instead of just volunteering some time. So I did. I volunteered for a job because if I'm going to volunteer my time, why not get paid for what time I was going to volunteer anyway? And they needed the help badly. So I volunteered, so I applied online, and I filled out all these online questionnaires. There were two tests on there. One was a grooming test, and this is not anything that the Humane Society themselves did. It was the online application process that did it themselves. But there was a grooming test for grooming animals, which I passed. And there was a test for vet techs, which I also passed. And it had very in-depth questions like which instrument out of the following would you choose for this surgery on this type of patient. It had questions like to do with anesthesia, like if you're doing a spay on a 14 or a so-and-so year old, not 14, you wouldn't spay a 14-year-old dog. If you're doing a spay on a so-and-so year old dog, and their respiratory rate drops and their heart rate drops while under anesthesia, what should you do? And so it's just things like vet tech questions like that I should answer. And I took both of those tests, and I know I did very well on them. So I met with one of the board members and the current general manager, and kind of did an interview and told them that I'm just looking to help them out, and they looked like they needed some help. The shelter needed a good scrubbing, and if I was going to volunteer, why not get paid for the work that I would do? And if you know me, you know that I am an extremely hard worker. The job does not pay very much at all, but neither did being a vet tech. I worked as a vet tech for minimum wage, $7.50 an hour, minimum wage, and I put in 60 and 70 hours a week at minimum wage, and lots of times was not paid the time and a half that I should have been paid, or the holiday pay that I should have been paid, but I continued to work there because I loved what I was doing. So pay is not a whole lot. I totally just milked her without hobbling her. I've never done, because normally she does do some kicking. Good girl, Butter. She didn't kick or anything. Thank God, because I didn't hobble her. Good girl, Butter. Hey, Beaver. Hi, Mr. Pig. How you doing? Hey, Jolene. Hey, little bitty. Fern. Hey, Mama. Ah, you can tell we did some seed starting. I got 8 cell trays of lots of different seeds started. This is what I used for disinfectant to spray my seed cell trays after I washed them out. This is a horde of seeds. Y'all, it's not even all of them. I have more. It's my friend Lisa Day told me I don't usually point out people's problems, but that is a problem. All right, back to the video. So I met with a member of the board and the current general manager, and I did an interview with them, and I talked to them, told them what I needed and what I would like, how I could help them, gave them a little information about myself, and the board member asked me for a resume. So the next Monday, I took a resume in and did a walkthrough with the general manager of how they run things, looked at the kennels and showed me around the place. And I was told that the board would need to meet to vote on it. And I assumed they were voting on a kennel manager position, because that's kind of what was brought up in the meeting is kennel manager position. So I was fine with that, and I was thinking $9 an hour is what they'll pay somebody to clean kennels. That's a little more than a lot of places do pay for that type of stuff. So I was willing to take $9 an hour because it was a job I was going to volunteer for anyways. So I had that in my head. So when I did the walkthrough with the general manager, I asked him some questions and different things, and he had informed me that he may be leaving his job very soon. So I told him, I want your job. What do I need to do to get your job? What kind of qualifications do I need to have to get your job? So he put in a word to the board that I was wanting to get his job when he leaves. And the board met on it. I'm guessing they voted, and I got the job as the general manager of the Humane Society for my county. It's a nonprofit organization, and there is a board that oversees those operations, and the general manager works under that board of supervisors. So I'm very excited to be able to do something great for my community. I'm excited to do something really good for those animals at the Humane Society. I'm excited to do something that I love, working with animals. And I'm excited to be getting paid for something I would have volunteered my time to do. And I really think that it was fate that God sent me there to that place to volunteer, and that he worked it out to where I could get the job as the general manager. I couldn't be more excited. I have all kinds of things of that I could maybe do to help the situations there. I have ideas of ways to bring in more volunteers and more employees. So I'm very excited about this job opportunity, and I hope everything works out. I just want to be where God wants me to be, and I'm very happy following Jesus. I hope y'all have a good night.